Hello, this is Steve Shrimpton of Wifitrax, and as I promised in my earlier videos, I'm going to show you how you can operate a group of Wi-Fi switch machine controllers from a central location. Obviously, you don't want to operate them all separately. You've got to operate them from some central location. And in this case, I'm going to use a Command Station Booster, which I've chosen our WFD-29. And it's a 5 amp Command Station Booster with a main track output and a program track, and on the other side it's got cab bus connectors for NCE cab bus. So you can connect an NCE Pro Cab there, or you can connect an NCE USB and then control it from JMRI. A few other things here just while we're at it: reset button, WPS to connect to your home network, and a Wi-Fi channel selector there as well. For the switch machine controllers, I've shown you these all before in earlier videos using a WFS48 servo motor output and just one servo motor connected to it. We're using a WFS43 store motor switch machine controller with, again, just one tortoise switch machine connected to it. And the third one is a WFS84 8-channel N-switch motor switch machine controller, as I call them, and we've got two MTB switch machines connected to it. Now, the DCC coming out of the Command Station Booster is routed to each of these modules in turn, and it supplies power, because I've told you earlier that you can use DCC to supply power as well as control. So we go to the power connections and also to the DCC input connections. On to the next one, the power, and to the DCC input. On to the next one, the power and the DCC input. So we're going to turn on in a minute and show you how you can control it. Now, during this sequence of videos, I've mentioned a number of times that if you're going to use more than one switch machine controller on your layout, and you nearly always will, then you need to set each channel of each switch machine controller to have a separate independent DCC accessory address. And normally you would do this when you do your initial test. I've shown you how to do an initial test. So if you've set up each time you connect a switch machine controller to points on your layout, then you'll probably want to, when you're doing your test, set all the DCC addresses to unique values. You need to probably make some sort of plan for your whole layout as to what the DCC addresses are going to be. I haven't done that, so now I'm going to have to set them all individually. So to do that, I need to connect to each one's Wi-Fi access point one at a time. So there we are, we can see them there. This time I'm using a personal computer here, desktop computer. I've used the iPad quite a lot, but this time I'm going to use a desktop computer. It's easier for me, and it also gives you another indication that you don't have to just use a tablet. Desktop computers or laptops have usually got a lot better display of the schematic control panel, which we're going to produce. So here we've got them all here, all the access points here of the three switch machine controllers that I showed you. But the fourth one there is the Command Station Booster itself. So we're not going to touch that for now, but let's start off with the WFS43. So we'll connect to that and wait for it to connect. Always seems to take longer on Windows, I don't know why. So that's connected now, and so we're going to access the web pages on the WFS43. So we need to type in the usual IP address, 192.168.7 2.1. Sometimes Chrome tends to put in things you didn't want, so that's correct. And there we go. So we hit enter and we've got settings, HomeNet, switch machine channels. So let's go to switch machine channels, and we've got the default settings are 100. So let's change these. Let's make this 200, and we'll call it 0.200, just so we know what we're doing there. Save, and we'll do the same with this one, 0.201, and we'll call it 0.201. This one, 0.201, 201, save, and lastly 0.203, and we'll change that to 203. Okay, so that's one done. Now we'll need to do the other two. So we'll disconnect from that one and connect to the WFS-48. That's the servo motor controller. And oh, there we go. We've already got this is refreshed into accidentally here. We didn't need to type in 192.168.7.1. Let's go back and assume we did, because we changed the there we are, WFS-48, just to be certain, and this time we'll change these to 301. Save. I've made a mess. I've done it. Should have been 300, shouldn't it? Let's add the 300. Okay, and lastly, okay, so that's done. Now I'll set up the third one. We won't go through every one. Okay, so to avoid the tedium of doing that, all of those, I've set up the WFS-84. It has 8 channels. I've set those to DC addresses 400 to 407. So we got 200 to 203, 300 to 303, 400 to 407. Now the first test we can do before we set anything up within the WFD-29 is to use a Android. I've chosen Android instead of my iPad, just for variety. And we're going to use Engine Driver, which is installed on here, to change some points. So the first thing, this is very similar to if you were accessing a WFD-30, which some of you may already own. So what we need to do first is to use settings to connect to the Wi-Fi access point. So there we go. Now, at the moment it's connected to Wifitrax Demo 4. So if we tap Wi-Fi here, and then we can see the WFD-29 access point. So we'll connect to that. And there it goes, it's connecting. So that's connected. So now we can go back to the home screen and start Engine Driver. an engine driver starts up. We can ignore that message. And it shows that there's a Y throttle server on WFD-29. So we tap on that. And we're now connected. So instead of trying to run trains, if we swipe this to the right, we can now see the points selection, the points menu, and we can either use server defined or we can turn out the switch machine address. So we'll select to use that and enter one of our known DCC addresses, 200. And now if we hit throw, use my other hand, there we go, close. So that is the stall motor switch machine on the WFS43 working. Now let's try another address. Let's try 300. And now already we'll hit throw. So that's the servo motor on the WFS48 working. And now we'll try and use the WFS84 with the N switch motor switch machines. So we'll enter 400, and I've got my finger poised over the throw button. And close. Okay, it was already thrown. There's also a toggle option on engine driver. Toggle again. So that's working. And we can try the other switch machine, the other end switch motor switch machine, which is 401. And I'll hit the toggle, then we know it's going to be sure to change. There it goes. So that's working fine. We can use engine driver. We can be running trains with engine driver, and then we can go to the points screen and choose any point we like, so long as we know it's DCC address. It's accessory address, perhaps I should say. So for the next demonstration, I'm going to use an NCE Pro Cab, which I've got connected to one of the cab bus inputs on the WFD-29 Command Station Booster. And so here we should be able to select a known accessory by its accessory address. So we'll use the select accessory button and then enter 200, and then either 1 for normal or 2 for reverse. That's the NCE terminology. So if we hit 1, then the switch machine's moving nicely. And if we select another one here, select accessory, let's go straight to the 401. There we go. And I'm not sure if it's going to be, there we go. So that moved. Select the same accessory. Okay, so we haven't made any changes to the configuration in the WFD-29 Command Station Booster, but we can always, in the simplest case here, control accessories by using their accessory address or accessory number, if you like. So now the next thing to do is to go back and look at the DCC Command Station. So this time we're going to connect to the WFD-29. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same IP address. And now we've got the WFD-29 web pages. So I'm going to go through the WFD-29 in detail in a different video. So I won't do all this right now. We've got settings, home net, locomotive roster, NCE cabs, and so on. What we're interested in for this video is accessories. So let's go into accessories, and this has recently been reset, and by default it has 10 accessories already defined. So what we can do now is we go in and edit those and set them up to the points that we know we've got in our controllers. So I'll just show you editing the first one. By default it's 0.0, so we want to set it to 0.201, and it's got DCC address 200, 0.200, and it's got DCC address 200. So we won't worry about the channel type just now. So we save that, so that's one set up, and then we'll do the next one, 0.201, 201, and so on. So I'll do all these and come back to you when they're done. So those are all complete now. We've got 4 starting at DCC address 200 to 203, 4 for the servo motor controller, and we've got 4 for the store motor controller, WFS 43, and we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the WFS 84, the end switch motor switch machine controller. So just incidentally, let me just delete that last one, because just delete that. So now putting that back in, so that's going to be, so let's go to the next page. So we'll have to hit new accessory. So every time we add one, we use new accessory and then edit it. So it's 0.407 with DCC address 407. Done. Okay. So now, if we go back to the previous page again, we can start testing that this works. Here, what we've got here then is a points list, a list of accessories, accessory list, and we can operate each one by tapping the button there, and that moves. Well, now that we've got all these turnouts defined in the accessory list on the Command Station Booster, what we can do is we can go back to having a look at engine driver, and I've got it already connected up here, and swipe across to the points page, and now we can use the server defined option, and you can see we've got all of these points listed. So if we just tap now on one that's listed here, and there it goes, or if we go to 300, there's 300, did you see it? That's better. And right up to 400. 401. I'm sorry if I'm not holding the camera in quite the right position. I'm trying to hold it and tap buttons at the same time. One thing I didn't mention earlier on is that if you look now, you can see the blue LEDs are all on. They came on as soon as we powered up with DCC connected. So just make that point. So yeah, going back to these, the accessory list on the Command Station Booster that we've spent quite a bit of time setting up. You only need that if you want to use an accessory list on engine driver or Y throttle, or indeed on the UWT 100 from TCS, or if you want to use the list that we just saw, or if you want to build up schematic control panels, then you do need to include all of the accessories in a list. So now we're looking back at the accessory list on the Command Station Booster, the WFD-29, viewed on my desktop PC here. Now, of course, you might have hundreds of turnouts on your layout. In fact, the WFD-29 allows I think it's 200 turnouts total, which is big enough for most layouts. What happens if something goes wrong and I don't know, the firmware crashes, or you have to, I hope it won't, but you have to factory reset it for some reason? Do you lose all those that you've entered? Well, yes, but the good news is that you can save them. So you can actually download them to a file. So if we download, you can click the download as I just did, and I don't know, what should we call it? Points 1, 2, 3. You can select all the active ones out of the 200, or you can just download a range, and the range here defaults to what we've defined, 16 of them. Remember, 4 plus 4 plus 8, 16. So if we hit download now, there's the progress bar going. Okay, that's finished, and it now allows us to open the downloads folder on the PC, and we can see that there's all sorts of rubbish there, but you can see that we've got points 1, 2, 3 up there. Well, once you've saved those, your points accessories list, and it's in the downloads folder, you'd darn well better put it somewhere safe. So we'll cut it out of there, and I'll move it to the folder that I'm actually using for all of the media stuff for this YouTube video, paste it into there. So points 1, 2, 3. Now then, having saved that, we can now quite happily just clear this. So we can clear the accessory list by tapping the clear button, and all the accessories will be deleted. Wow. Okay, go ahead. There, they've all gone now. So now what we can do, we can recover them by choosing upload, choose the file, and here we go, I'm already in the right folder. So points 1, 2, 3, press upload, and the progress bar shows they're all being uploaded again. Okay, go back, and there they all are recovered. So it's really important to do that. Well, the next thing we need to do is to have a look at panels, because I think this is the best way to control turnouts on a layout. So we're still on the WFD-29 accessory list, so we go back to the main menu, and then we'll select panels there. And after a reset, there is a default panel, one default panel there. You can create a new panel just by tapping that. So let's edit this panel that we have there already displayed, and we'll click panel properties, which opens the panel properties, and we'll give it a suitable name. We'll call it test panel, and we'll make it a little bit bigger than the default one, 800 by 400. There we go. So now we've got a whole selection of things here that we can put on. First of all, we can close panel properties there to make it a bit clearer. We might save just now. That's right. So now we'll put some turnouts on there. We've got 16 to choose from, although we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 actual switch machines. But we can still use all the channels because we can look at the turnout list, the channel list on the switch machine controllers if we want to, just to make sure they are changing. So there's one. So let's put another one on there. Now we can we'll make some sidings, I think, so we can actually change that from straight to angled, and then we can flip left and right, and then we can join it onto there. They click together. I think I'll just make the screen a bit bigger so you can see better. There, okay. Now another turnout, and we'll do the same thing. We'll set it to angled, and we'll change flip left to right, and we'll put it here. And now we'll put some track. Okay, so there's track there, and you can hold down the shift key and move. It'll stay, won't change its angle. Another piece of track, and we'll extend this main line here to the edge. There we go. And yet more track. Make these. You need to sort of put the mouse on the center to move the track. There we go. So on the center there, just to demonstrate, if you put it on the end, you'll change the angle of it. If you put it on the other end, that'll draw that angle down. If you put it in the center, you'll be able to move the whole thing. I'll just straighten that out a bit. That's it. One more piece of track. Yes, we'll keep them spaced nicely. So we'll put that one there and extend it out to the end. Last piece of track for now, anyway. Put that. Oops. Okay, that's right. Okay, so there we've got a siding network. Now, you see that the points here have a name there, so they're all defaulting to the first one in the list, which happens to be 0.200. Well, that's no good. The first one can be 0.200. If we click on the second one, we've got a list here. We've got 0.200, 201, and so on. So let's set that to 0.300 because that's one of our switch machines. And we'll set this one to 0.400. Okay, and so let's save that. And now we can go back to there, and now we've got our I'm changing the magnification on the browser here just by holding the control key down and moving my mouse wheel. You can do that with any web page, of course. So now, this time we're going to, instead of actually editing, that's where you edit it, if you click on this hyperlink, that opens it. So now it's opened in operational mode. So if we tap on there, you might be able to hear the switch machine, the store motor switch machine is moving. That's that. You can't hear that. That's the servo one. That's the other one. Well, that was a very simple panel, but you can make them a lot more complex than that. You can have up to 200 elements on a panel, element being a turnout, piece of track, a building, piece of text. So I just, for demonstration, I'll upload a panel which was created some time ago. It happens to be called Sunny Railroad. So we'll upload that. There it is. So if we open that in edit mode, there it is. So quite a complex one. It's probably not set up properly. Let's go into operating view. There we are. So we've got some indicator lights here to show the position of the turnouts. So I'll need to make a video which is on nothing but panels, because there's a lot of detail in the editing here and the way you can set them up. So that's about it for this video. I've shown how you can use a Command Station Booster to operate an array of switch machine controllers by connecting the DCC that you would connect to the track. So this can be connected to the track as well as to the switch machine controllers. It's also supplying power via the DCC. Now, if you've got, some limitation on the amount of power available from your DCC booster, then you might want to supply the power separately from another power supply. So you can reserve all your DCC power for your track, because the inputs themselves don't use any power. But here we are using DCC power, or probably, I'm not sure, maybe 200 or 300 milliamps to power these modules. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you very much.